The room went silent. The Cato was a human in the war footage. The briefing room hummed with the low murmur of officers and analysts, the air thick with a sterile scent of recycled oxygen. Admiral Vera stood at the holoprojector, her sharp features illuminated by the flickering blue light of the footage playing before them. "This," she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "is the enemy we face." The recording showed a battlefield on the outskirts of the ruined colony of Tarkis 7. Smoke curled from shattered buildings, the sky a sickly orange from the fires below. And there, in the center of the carnage, was a figure that had haunted the Alliance for months. A human, not one of their own. Humans had been extinct for nearly 2 centuries, wiped out in the final days of the Great Collapse. And yet, here one was, clad in a battered, outdated combat suit, moving with impossible speed and precision. The figure cut through a squad of elite Kel'shar warriors like they were nothing, their movements a blur of brutal efficiency. The room had seen this footage before. They had studied it, analyzed it, tried to understand how a single human, a creature that should only exist in history archives, was now slaughtering their best soldiers. But today was different, because today, someone in the room recognized that human. Cadet Jaren Tovis sat stiffly in the back row, his hands clenched into fists beneath the table. His throat was dry, his pulse a drumbeat in his ears. He hadn't believed it at first. It had to be a mistake, a trick of the light, some cruel simulation. But then the figure in the footage turned, just for a second, and the helmet's visor caught the light. And Jaren saw his own face. He didn't remember much before waking up in the Alliance Recruitment Center. His earliest memory was the sterile white walls, the medics telling him he'd been found drifting in a derelict escape pod near the ruins of Earth. No identification, no records, just a name tag on a suit. Tovis J. They assumed he was a survivor of some forgotten colony, one of the scattered remnants of humanity who had somehow clung to life after the collapse. He had been young, disoriented, and the Alliance had given him purpose. Training, a rank, a place in the war against the Kel'shar Dominion. He had never questioned it. Until now, the briefing ended, and the officers filed out, their voices low with speculation. Jaren remained seated, staring at the now-blank holoprojector. "You look like you've seen a ghost, Cadet." Admiral Vera stood over him, her dark eyes studying him with unsettling focus. Jaren swallowed. "Just surprise, Admiral. I didn't realize humans were still active." Vera's lips thinned. "They aren't. Or at least they shouldn't be." She paused, then leaned in slightly. "But you already knew that, didn't you?" His blood turned to ice. She knew. They took him to a secured interrogation chamber. No cuffs, no restraints. Just Vera and a silent intelligence officer watching him from across the table. "Who are you, really?" Vera asked. Jaren exhaled. "I don't know." The Admiral tapped a command into the table's console, and the footage played again. The human warrior moved with terrifying grace, their every motion calculated, lethal. "That's you," Vera said. Jaren shook his head. "It can't be. I've never been to Tarkis 7. I've never fought like that." "Then explain why your biometrics match the figure in this recording. Down to the scar on your left eyebrow." Jaren touched his brow instinctively. The scar was old, something he'd always assumed was from the crash. But now he wasn't so sure. Memories flickered at the edges of his mind. Flashes of combat, the weight of a rifle in his hands, the smell of burning metal. He squeezed his eyes shut. "I think I was a soldier," he murmured. Vera exchanged a glance with the intelligence officer. "Not just any soldier. That footage is from 5 years ago, before we even found you." Jaren's head snapped up. "That's impossible. I'm 23. I would have been 18, Vera finished. "Old enough to fight. Old enough to be something the Kel'shar fear enough to hunt across star systems." A silence stretched between them. Then the alarms blared. The Kel'shar had found them. Jaren didn't remember grabbing the pistol from the stun guard outside the interrogation room. Didn't remember moving with that same terrifying speed from the footage, dropping enemy soldiers before they could even raise their weapons. But he must have, because suddenly he was standing in the middle of a corridor littered with Kel'shar corpses, his hand steady, his breath even. Vera stared at him from behind cover, her expression unreadable. "You are him," she said. Jaren looked down at the pistol in his hand, and for the first time he remembered the war hadn't ended with the collapse. Humanity hadn't just died, they had fought and lost, and he had been one of the last. A ghost, a weapon, a survivor. The room went silent as the truth settled over him, and then the real battle began.